Wow, it's over. Adrien the Problem Broner loses to Blair Cobbs. But even worse, he gets dropped and he gets his tooth knocked out, at least according to the broadcasters. They're saying Broner got his tooth knocked out. Oh man, you know, AB, another bicuspid, alcoholic beverages, crazy. Now make sure you check out part 1 of this video. I really just broke down the fight. This video, I will prove to you that Adrien Broner, his tooth got knocked out in the fight. Now, I've been in the game 10 plus years. I don't even know why you guys would question me. I'm the best in the business and it's not even close. I posted it on my social media. Make sure you guys follow me, link in the description for all my social media. This is not just one platform. The brand Boxing Ego is everywhere. And I posted this, most people were just commenting like normal, but there were a few negative Nancys who were saying that it was cap and they didn't believe that Broner's tooth got knocked out, or said I was making it up, as if I just sit around making up boxing topics like that's what my life consists of. So for starters, I need to get you guys caught up to speed, because there ain't gonna be no lying on Boxing Ego's name. Roll the clip.
Wow, big shot. That was
perfect left. And did you say that they picked up a tooth off the canvas?
They just did, yes.
Adrien the Problem Broner has one less tooth now than he began the night with.
Wow.
Because he was trying to get him out.
Now that we got that out of the way and you guys heard it, that's what they said on the telecast, on the broadcast. Don't blame me, blame Don King Promotions and whoever he hired as broadcasters, because that's again what they said. They said that his tooth got knocked out and it was on the canvas and they had to clean it up. That's what they said. So enough of that. Now, as far as the fight, you know, where does Broner even go from here? That's a serious question. I think Broner has given everything that he could to boxing. He hasn't always played it perfectly, and it's just that season where most people are going to at least believe that he should retire. And it makes perfect sense based on that opponent, how the fight looked, reluctance to let your hands go. I mean, where do I even begin? So Broner's getting dropped in the first 2 rounds. Like, no disrespect to Blair the Flair Cobbs. I get it. You know, he was a person that has already lost, so people wrote him out. Broner was a big name. Even though the sports book had him as the favorite, people who weren't familiar with his name, they looked at Blair the Flair as an underdog in this fight. Even though, again, if you were gonna gamble, he was the favorite. I'm just talking about, you have to understand boxing is a passion sport. So a lot of fans, if they're not familiar with your brand, what they'll do is fill in the blank. Like, hey, I never heard of this guy, so this guy must suck. And it really says more about your limited knowledge of the sport and the players in it than anything else. But I see it all the time. Like, for example, Terrence Crawford. People know Terrence Crawford's name, but his opponent, Israel Madrimov, is a really good fighter. But if you're not a deep, hardcore boxing fan, you probably don't know who Madrimov is to know that. So you're looking at Crawford versus some guy. But that should be a good fight because Madrimov really could fight. Same thing in this fight with Blair Cobbs. He just wasn't the bigger name. The crowd was pro Broner and they were even chanting, trying to uplift Broner, and he still lost. He showed heart. He got back up. He warred back, but too little too late. In my opinion, he convincingly lost to Blair the Flair. even though he doesn't believe that. I seen a video on ES News and he said that Ninja didn't beat me. But this is the same thing that Broner said when he was at the Pacquiao fight after Pacquiao beat him. And I was at that fight live. I covered that fight. And I'm here to tell you Pacquiao beat Broner. Like, I don't even understand. Like, when I was actually surprised being live in the crowd at that particular fight in Vegas for Broner versus Pacquiao, I was surprised that he even had to rant, because to me, Pacquiao won so convincingly, and I didn't even think there would be a way that the opposing side, Broner, would even dispute that. But little did I know I was wrong, and Broner tried to dispute that. He said, "Y'all know I beat that boy. You know, he ain't did it." And he just went on this, "I did it for the hood," and went on this big tangent, and Ray is like a rage-filled rant where he was saying how he was jobbed in the Pacquiao fight. Again, I was there live, I watched it, I seen Pacquiao winning, period. So Broner's done this before, and it just goes to show you the egos, no pun intended. The people just don't, fighters, they have egos, they don't want to lose. They'll be in denial. Like, I see this all the time, right? Like, even Deontay Wilder. You look at Deontay Wilder before the fight, he said he would highly consider retiring if he were to lose. Not only did he lose to Zhele Zhang, he lost bad, and he lost by a knockout, and wasn't able to really get the right hand going like he has in the prime, in the height of his career. And then after, we're hearing from Team Wilder that the journey might not be over, and Wilder still wants to keep fighting potentially. You see what I'm saying? So these fighters are very stubborn, be it the paycheck, be it feeling you could have done more or proved doubters wrong, whatever it is. These fighters, a lot of them work themselves into this position where it's like no retreat, no surrender, and they don't want to come to grips with the reality. So in terms of Broner, I really don't know if Broner will decide to retire, but I highly doubt it, because he's saying that he won the fight. So in his mind, if he truly believes that he won the fight and he was robbed, then that means he's not even accepting the loss, and he's in denial about the loss, despite it being on his box rec, and it'll be engraved on your Wikipedia and your pro boxing career. You lost to Blair the Flair Cobbs, right? But again, maybe that's why some of the fighters do it, is if I deny this and don't accept it, then I don't have to face the music and face the realities of retirement. Or, you know, I don't know Broner's finances, but Broner could need the paycheck. You know, he could be like, you know, need the money, because we know Broner, he hasn't looked like he's been the best with managing his money. He hasn't looked like he's been the best in terms of sobriety, hasn't been the best with, you know, the not partying, not living the fast life, hasn't been the best with just managing situations. And this is the part of your career where if you didn't do those things, it can come back to bite you. Like, for example, and I said this in real time, this was years ago. I said this before, and I said it was years ago. Adrien Broner had a wife beater. He had a tank top, and he was in the Walmart, and then the cashier gave him his total. He paid, and he said, they must not know I'm a B. I don't need no change. And then he just threw the money up in the air. You know, he just threw like a handful of quarters and nickels and stuff. And people looked at that with disgust. And I said, Broner, him doing this game, because I think there was even a video he did where he was like burning money, or he was flushing it down the toilet. I think that's what it was. He was flushing it down the toilet. And I remember at those times, because I was still in the boxing game at that time, I remember at that time I said, Broner, he may not realize it now, but he'll end up regretting some of these decisions most likely, because when you start losing and those paychecks like slim up, you can't get the title fights, you can't get the big fights, you're looked at as more of a stepping stone, then those paychecks are fewer and fewer in between, you know what I mean? So you flushing money down the toilet and stuff, just looking back on it, it's not a good look, you know? And that's just my honest opinion. And the human part of me feels real bad for Broner. But the realistic, I guess you could say the reality of the situation is a lot of Broner's situation is self-inflicted. He's done certain things. You know, part of it, I don't know if he's ever recovered from the Maidana fight, where after that type of fight that he had with Maidana, they never rematched. So he never got that like monkey off his back and been like, yeah, I beat Maidana in a rematch or anything like that. And Broner, he just had to live with that. And it's almost like it gave him PTSD. And I don't think he's ever truly let his hands go in the same exact fashion that he was known for letting his hands go in dazzling, spectacular fashion before that Maidana fight. So Broner's no stranger to the fast lane. And I think ultimately these decisions, partying, drinking, not taking care of your body, substance abuse, lawsuits, you know, foolish stuff with money, possibly burning bridges, because I've heard some things behind the scenes, you know, burning your bridges. You were with Al Heyman, you were with PBC, you may have burned some bridges. Then now you went to Triller, or actually not Triller, you went to BLK Prime. That didn't work out. Now you're with Don King. And then like, it's just, you know, it's a different stage of his career. And I think everybody was pulling for Broner, but it doesn't look like he's the same fighter anymore. That's just me being honest, whether he owns up to losing to Blair Cobbs or not. And then to have a fighter like Blair Cobbs, again, this is no slight to him, but he's knocking your tooth out, dropping you in the second round, even though you showed mad heart. Also, ego injury report. Adrien Broner has reportedly suffered some kind of elbow injury when he got dropped in that second round and when he fell, so he had to go to the hospital. So your body's older, you've done some probably irreversible things to your body by what you've put into your body, drinking, having fat camps, ballooning up in weight. And again, the human side of me, I'm like, man, this sucks for AB, you know? But being realistic, this is why I always tell you guys on my channel, these fighters got to be disciplined. You only have a certain window of opportunity before that door closes. You can't be a fighter forever. It's like, and I'm not saying you can't be a fighter like a civilian living as a fighter, you still know how to fight. I'm not talking about that. I'm saying to be an in prime, in competition fighter, you're not going to be, I mean, competing hopefully when you're 80, 90 years old. I mean, that would just look crazy. I mean, we're getting close with Jake Paul, and Mike Tyson's almost 60 and he's allegedly about to fight Jake Paul. But in general, that's not usually the ticket. And you see what happens, like when Evander Holyfield fought an MMA guy, Vitor Belfort, he's losing to a MMA guy with limited boxing only experience, and he can't even beat someone like that. That's how you know when you're not the same. Evander Holyfield fought guys like Lennox Lewis, James Toney, fought guys like Mike Tyson, right? And Foreman. So you mean to tell me that Holyfield can't beat an MMA fighter? But that's why I always say timing is everything. So Broner being older, him being injured, even if he's trying to get super serious and dedicated, he said that for the Blair Cobbs fight. There was a lot of trash talk, a lot of banter. It looked like he had a serious camp with Tank. He got a new coach situation, Coach Calvin, Coach Kenny helping him out. He was around younger guys and stuff to push him in camp. He looked like he got his weight down, you know, at spots of the camp. But it was weird because in the camp, he looked like he was almost in better shape. And then when I watched the fight, he just looked doughy and soft and like almost pudgy. So I don't know what happened in his rehydration period, but that also could be your body kind of rejecting some of the things you've done. Like your walk around weight is too high, and then now you're trying to, at a later age, you're trying to crash down and make this weight, and then your body looks softer when you replenish and rehydrate back up. Something looked off about his physique. That's not how Broner, like, you go look at Broner versus Ashley Theophane in the ring, he didn't look like that. Or Broner versus Melina, you know, or any Broner fight, for real. When he rehydrated, he didn't look like that. He looked like soft and like almost like a gut. So I don't really know where Broner goes from here. Again, some of the decisions are his fault. Others could be like Father Time and things like that. But, you know, even the way this promotion was handled, like people didn't even know the fight was on Friday instead of Saturday. A lot of people missed the weigh-in, and it just didn't have like the full-fledged presentation. So it's like, where does Broner at this point go from a performance like this? You picked up an injury, you got dropped, you got your tooth knocked out. It's like, yeah, you could keep fighting for checks, but at the top level, I mean, how can he beat any of the young guys like Ryan Garcia or Teofimo Lopez? And it's like, Broner has been in this weird in-between division thing. Like, I don't think he can even make 140 anymore, but he was talking about fighting not that long ago, fighting Regis Prograis at 140, but he looks big at 147, and he looks like kind of doughy and soft at 147. So I'm thinking he can't make 140 anymore, which means you have to fight at 47. So it's like, who can you beat? You can't make Jaron Ennis versus Broner at this point. I mean, that's just too much. So I don't really know where he goes from here. And if you're not beating Blair Cobbs, I don't know what champion or what interim champion you could beat. I mean, you can't, to me, you're not going to be able to beat Mario Barrios, who's very durable, very tough, big for the division, and throws a lot of punches. Because it's not even like Blair the Flair looked invincible. It just looked like he outworked Broner, and he was enough to beat Broner. But I know Blair the Flair was calling out Jaron Ennis. I don't think he should fight Jaron Ennis. Nothing that I seen in the Broner fight leads me to believe that he has a chance versus Jaron Ennis. So let me know in the comment section, where does Broner go from here?